Hi.
Hello.
I'm Jel.
I'm Ray.
You want to go cruising?
Okay.
Vámonos. Let's go cruising then.
Vámonos. There's a sprinkler going off.
Beautiful day.
Gorgeous.
Now, how do you say it? I like how you say it better.
How do I say it?
The beautiful day.
Beautiful day.
Fall is here. I love it. The leaves are changing. We just took a cruise into the mountains.
A little bit of leaf peeping.
Yeah, do leaf peeping. Oh, it's so beautiful.
Little bit.
It's like still green, but there's just like little drops of gold here and there, and like just hints. And there's like gold to red colors, like
the lavender colors.
Like just fall in Colorado is just so beautiful.
It is.
I mean, fall is just beautiful. I love fall. Fall is one of my favorites.
It's a whole different palette of a season.
I love it. Anyway, well, even though it is spooky season, we're not doing ghosts today, unfortunately. Soon. But we are going to talk about history / true crimey. Is yours true crimey?
It's just history.
It's just historical?
Yeah.
Because I love learning about history just in general, and so does Rachel. And so,
I mean, I classify it as historical.
So Rachel's going to tell us something that she learned about. I'm excited.
Now, bear with me, too, because while I did this research, I was having a long week, so I was exhausted. So bear with me, okay?
Work, damn it.
A lot of work. But luckily, I looked into a guy named Thor Heyerdahl.
I don't know who that is.
Okay. Some people might know him. I certainly did not until I came across an article one day, and he just caught my eye. And he is a Norwegian adventurer and an ethnographer, which an ethnographer is the study of individual cultures. Which is...
That's cool.
Right? Yeah, you just get to go to different countries and just study cultures.
I want to do that.
Take schooling.
That sounds so fun. I don't want to go to school.
I know, me neither. I wanted to be a lot of things that involve school.
I know. That's the shitty part. I don't like school.
Indeed. And this guy, because of that and the education he has, he was able to take like some of the biggest adventures known to man.
Wait. So when was he an adventurer? What time?
So he himself was born October 6th, 1914.
Oh, okay.
So his birthday's coming up here soon. But he passed away April 18th, 2002. So I'll get more into that. But again, he's just known for being a huge adventurer. He was born in Larvik, Norway. His dad was a quote-unquote master brewer, also named Thor Heyerdahl. And he was born 1869 to 1957. His mom was Allison Ling, I think. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. But she was born in 1873 and died in 1965. But she had a strong interest in Darwin's theory of evolution, which basically sparked the interest of Thor when it came to animals. So he showed a big interest in zoology in general as a kid, and again, inspired by his mother. He himself even created a small little museum at his home with a common European viper as the main attraction.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right? Okay. Like, what an imagination. So, as he grew up and, he was all into this, studying different animals all the time, like even plants and stuff like that, he ended up going to the University of Oslo, where he studied zoology and geography as well. So, more into his personal life. After about 7 terms and consultations with experts in Berlin, a project that he wanted was finally developed by his zoology professors for him to visit some isolated Pacific Island groups and just study how local animals there found their way to the islands. So kind of general things like that. Things that I would never think of,
Yeah,
anyway. But it kind of reminded me of Darwin. Like, Darwin got to the Galapagos Islands and he,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just making sure. But he
I'm all listening and she's up, right? Yeah, I don't even know. Yes, I think yes.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it was the Galapagos. But that's where he kind of studied the theory of evolution and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it reminded me of him. He just wanted to go and study how the local animals there found their way to the islands.
He has the mind of a scientist or something.
Right.
He's just cause well, I don't know. I guess who does think of that? I don't know. I never thought of it.
Really though. So at this point, that was for the Kon-Tiki expedition. So this would have been in 1947. And this is the expedition where, again, mostly known for, he sailed 5,000 miles or 8,000 kilometers across the Pacific from South America to the Tuamotu Islands in the French Polynesia.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gee.
I couldn't find necessarily how long, time-wise that took. I imagine at least several months. But yeah, that expedition itself was designed to demonstrate that people in ancient times could have also made long sea voyages, creating contacts between societies. And he did it with a hand-built raft.
Wow. So he literally just did it as they would have back then.
Literally.
Wow.
Yep, just to study it. Now, what was interesting, though, going back to his personal life, one day before sailing, he married his first wife, Liv Cotcheron Torp. Again, I hope I pronounced it right. But he met her at the university in 1936. And he was 22, she was 20. They eventually had 2 sons together, Thor Jr. and Bjorn, but eventually they did divorce in 1947 before his expedition that she helped organize. The thing, though, with this is that initially they intended on just running away together and never returning home.
Why?
They just probably didn't really like how society there was, or
so they just wanted to just run away, be together.
Yeah, and do what they loved.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that blah blah. But
lovey-dovey, mushy stuff.
They just wanted to study the plants and the animals. That was their passion. That's just what they wanted to do together, and they just didn't want to ever come back.
They never did that?
Well, they went, and they lived off the land and collected their botanical specimens, and they did study the animals. But they did return after a year. Because of the tropical diseases that were exposed down there and lack of resources that they had left. So, I mean, they could only do so much. So they had to come back, essentially. Now, throughout his life, also, too, he did serve in the Free Norwegian Forces in 1944 after the occupation of Norway by Nazi Germany. I thought that was interesting.
Damn.
So, since he divorced in 1947, in 1949, he married wife number 2, Yvonne Dedekan Simonsen. Sorry. But
these names.
with her, he had 3 daughters this time, Annette, Marion, and Helene.
Oh.
Then later, he divorced her in 1969. This one, though, he personally blamed it on his time away from home and differences in raising the kids. And in his own biography, he took the blame for their separation.
Oh, that sucks.
So, I mean, I'll give him that. At least he took responsibility for it.
Divorce sucks.
You're telling me.
Yeah.
So, finally, in 1991, he married his last wife, Jacqueline Beer. And they lived in Tenerife in the Canary Islands. And he was still actively involved with a lot of archaeological projects down there. He's basically still did what he loved until the day he died. So going now to the Kon-Tiki expedition, what he's the most known for. In 1947, he sailed from Peru to the Tuamotu Islands in French Polynesia with 5 other adventurers. And they went on a pei raft. And that's basically a raft constructed from balsa wood and other native materials.
How big is it? Like, how many
Not
does it
very.
sit?
Probably wider than the car, but probably the length of the car, I would imagine.
Okay.
If not, maybe a little longer.
Okay.
Something like that.
Damn.
Now, even though he was down to do this expedition, Thor had nearly drowned twice as a kid. So he did fear for his life several times on that voyage. You're on a raft sailing across the Pacific Ocean.
You can't swim, so...
He can swim, just...
But the
waves are hard,
the fear
man.
of drowning, is just, like...
It's kind of like me. I can swim, but, I mean, if I get too far out, I'm going to get in my head and get afraid of drowning, and that's probably what's going to happen.
Scary.
Yeah. Ugh. So... On the plus side, though, because I wondered, like, okay, with how long that took, like, how did he keep all the resources and stuff like that? Like, I'm sure they tied everything down, but fish would get caught in between the logs, so they could have easily just relied on fish for hydration and for food. And other rafts tried doing the same voyage later on, inspired by this expedition.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of showing that, yeah, people could do this back then.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And because, like Moana.
Yeah.
Because it's like that, right?
Exactly.
They're all on their rafts, and that's how they would go to island and island.
Mm-hmm.
That was their life.
But you didn't know how far you were going.
But that's no different than the nomads on land that traveled thousands of miles into the mountains and stuff.
Yeah, we still have a lot of uncharted territory.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. And he wrote a lot of books. He also wrote the book, The Kon-Tiki Expedition by Raft Across the South Seas. And it's been translated into 70 languages.
Wow.
There's even a documentary of the expedition. I can't read my own handwriting. Oh, and it won an Academy Award in 1951.
Oh, is it called?
Probably just The Kon-Tiki Expedition.
Oh, I want to watch it.
There is a dramatized version that was released in 2012, and it was nominated for Best Foreign Language Film at the 70th Golden Globe Awards.
Wow.
And it was the first time a Norwegian film was ever nominated.
Wow. I want to watch it. I'm
right?
Curious now.
Like, he went so many places, he studied so much, and he inspired so many.
That's so cool.
In the end, he left the legacy of not just his expeditions, because he did another one in 1971. He also sailed from West Coast Africa to Barbados. And he did that on a papyrus reed boat.
And it was successful, like same thing.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. So, with the more...
That's nuts.
Yeah. Now, there is a Kon-Tiki museum in Oslo, Norway, and it houses vessels and maps from the expedition, as well as a library with about 8,000 books.
Whoa.
Yeah. There is also the Thor Heyerdahl Institute, which was established in 2000, and Thor himself agreed to founding the institute, and it continues to develop his ideas and his principles. And it's located in his birth town of Larvik.
That's really
Larvik,
cool.
sorry. Yep. His grandson, Olav, even retraced his grandpa's Kon-Tiki voyage in 2006 with a 6-member crew. And it was intended as a tribute and to understand his navigation that much better.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being on a boat and just going out, like...
I'd be shitted.
I'm over here like, yeah, I want to be Moana with my hair in the wind.
Oh, it's thrilling until you said sail, girl.
I'd be shitted.
Until you get thirsty, until you want to eat.
Oh, that's where you have all the supplies. You don't just go.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it'd be great, but what if a big old wave comes over, like a freaking Poseidon comes up, like,
Poseidon.
I'm just saying, but there's so much more. I only looked off the one site, again, because of tired.
But that's interesting. I've never heard of him.
No, I literally saw an article, I was scrolling down, and it caught my eye, and so I clicked on it, and I learned basically the basics of just like, oh, a guy sailed from South America to French Polynesia. I'm like, no way.
I feel like adventurers should be like a little bit more recognized than they should be.
And that's kind of why I wanted to do this episode on him, because I'm sure I know you didn't know of him. I was hoping you didn't.
No, not at all.
And
never heard of the guy.
I'm sure there's way more you could like learn from, like, and figure out about him online and whatnot. And again, there's movies, there's his books as well. But in the end, it's a lot, clearly. He has a lot. He used to apparently have, like, one of the biggest French Polynesian collections in the world. Of just, like, maps, books, collectibles, like, anything you could think of. His stuff, even.
I want to go to a museum now.
Right?
Like...
We need to go back to the art museum.
We do.
Yep.
We really do.
Yeah, we do.
But...
Alas, that
was really cool.
Yep.
And now I'm really curious. We should try to find his movie.
We should. There's a couple. Well, a few, obviously. But, yeah, it's clearly heard of. But I've never heard of it.
That'd be a good one for Chris Hemsworth to make. No, I'm just kidding.
Ha! If you hear it, do it.
Just kidding. But no, that's really interesting. Like,
Really?
I'm really curious now. You piqued my interest with it, so...
Oh, good.
Hopefully she's piqued yours.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Look into him more.
Well, you can listen to more on YouTube, and you can find us and look us up as Let's Go Cruising with Jel and Ray. And you can also friend us and like us, subscribe, do all of that, share with your friends. You can also look us up on Instagram at Let's Go Cruising Podcast. And you can email us at Let's Go Cruising Podcast at gmail.com, and you can email us like some suggested stories, or maybe, let us know what other cool things, like historical things in your culture or whatever, like the Norwegian culture, the Polynesian culture.
Yeah.
I think that stuff is really cool.
Let us know, because it's so interesting.
I wish we got into more, but don't worry. We'll get into other things.
Oh, yeah.
But thanks. Should we go cruising back home?
Sounds good.
All right.
Bye.
Peace, yo.